Welcome back to the Culture Currency. Beautiful silver in front of you. This is another world region that we are going to dive down into. We recently had a video over one of these coins, so some of these will be familiar to you. This is one of the most overlooked areas of the world when it comes to silver bullion, and therefore it does deserve a video to highlight the beauty and the significance held within. And we are talking, of course, of the Caribbean, and most especially the Lesser Antilles, though a couple of these nations do come from outside of that. Reminder, every single one of these coins has a unique video about it for the most part. There might be one or two that I haven't got to, but the majority of them have a unique video telling you the history, the culture, the stories of the nation, and the artwork which is held on these coins. We want to start here in my favorite of the Caribbean nations that make silver, and that is Barbados. Barbados is a larger island on the Lesser Antilles, kind of at the end of it as it gets closer to mainland. So let's go ahead and zoom in here. One of the coolest flags, this is their coat of arms, their flag being kind of a navy blue and a golden yellow with a black broken trident, signifying their breaking away from England. As we know, the Britannia holds a trident, though there is a lot of respect still held between the UK and Barbados. That is the symbology of the flag. As you see here, we have a dolphin, we have the mahi-mahi, which is, a dorado. There's many names for it. This being a pelican over here, beautiful ornate design there. And this is going to be one of their Caribbean silver coins. So you can see this one being a pelican, which is probably my favorite bird of all time. There are a handful that are close to it, but I've always loved the pelican. So they have a handful in this Caribbean silver series, a handful of different species. And depending on the year, this is one that we tend to see every single year. Next we have, right here from the, once again, island of Barbados. This is a much older round, given to me by a viewer, by the way, which I absolutely am grateful for. One of the coolest old coins. This right here, you see a mint mark right there for Franklin Mint. There's an F with an M, Franklin Mint, which tells you that this is probably a 0.925 or a sterling silver piece. But look here at how pretty. Once again, we have the same animal. The dorado, the mahi-mahi, the dolphin. It goes by many names. It's just fantastically delicious. I have some in my freezer right now, actually. But yeah, this is Poseidon or Neptune, depending on the Roman or Greek affiliate. But that's basically one of the cool things here about islands is that they have a affinity for the ocean. Barbados again with their awesome coat of arms. This is another within their Caribbean silver. This being the seahorse, which I love. Really fascinating animal, the seahorse. Love the textures. So if I were to collect from one country in the Caribbean, as you can tell by these stacks of silver, it would be Barbados, just because the quality is high and the subject matter is just awesome, especially if you love nautical things. Another Caribbean silver piece, this might be a white pelican, whereas the other one might have been a brown. Really hard to know because they're all silver. Beautiful Caribbean silver there. This one looks a little bit different in its ornateness, and this is going to actually be a piece, as you can see, with the trident on it. And this is kind of like their calling card piece. America has the silver eagle, Niue has the hawksbill turtle, Canada has the Canadian maple. This is the trident, and every year the background tends to change a little bit, but the trident stays the same. In fact, if you get lucky, there is a trident with a little pineapple right here, and that is a privy mark, which actually denotes a much, much lower mintage. Absolutely love the trident. One of the first coins I ever purchased, in fact. Barbados again. And here is the green monkey. Really, really cool. Reminder, if you like any of the coins to the point that you want to purchase them from me, everything in life, it's at least for coins in my collection, can have a price, but it has to make sense for them to leave my collection, which, might be right where you want it to be, and it might not be, but you never know till you ask, because I do have a lot of world coins that I can always make room by giving them to people who I know will value them as much as I do, and then therefore opening more room for my collection. This is an older one, once again given to me by a viewer who wishes to remain anonymous. Beautiful, beautiful young Victoria here in the Bahamas Islands, as you see. Looky there. What a scene with the flamingos. Just gorgeous, gorgeous product here. Absolutely stunner. Here we have the BVI, the British Virgin Islands. Really cool coin. This is going to be a very important coin, especially in England, as the Pobjoy Mint, which that's the mint mark right there, is no longer a thing. This is the Pegasus from the BVI, the British Virgin Islands, and it is reverse cameo. It always came that way. Extremely low mintage, scores very high on our 60-point scale. But yes, the Pobjoy Mint, which was an icon, a beautiful world silver, much like what Scottsdale does in America, where they minted on behalf of many nations and the quality was outstanding. It has closed its doors. And another from the British Virgin Islands, the BVI. We have Her Late Majesty, Queen Elizabeth there. And we have the Santa Maria. Not the Nina, not the Pinta, but the Santa Maria on this side, being one of the 3 ships that came across the ocean in search for America. And I guess they found it. Now for some coins you might already be aware of because you just watched my video over a coin from St. Lucia. But this is an EC8, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank coin. There's 8 nations that are a part of it. Here is St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Very simple there, beautiful design. Really, really cool series because the artwork changes every single year. We have Dominica, or Dominica, depending on where you're coming from. Beautiful with the Cicero parrot right there. Gorgeous plane going over the island. Reminds me of a 1950s, 1960s postcard. There's the old standard. The new coins now have, instead of the queen here, ECCB for Eastern Caribbean Central Bank. The nation of Anguilla, which is Spanish for eel because the island looked like an eel. Here is the Anguilla lobster, which is the wrong species of lobster. This is a northern Atlantic lobster, and it should have been a slipper lobster or a spiny lobster, but somebody didn't do their research over there. Here's Anguilla again. This is their coat of arms with the dolphins, which I believe on their flag are orange, but I don't remember. Queen, of course. Another from Anguilla here. Just running through them quickly to try to be honorable of your time. Trying to get this to focus. There we are. And we have right here eels, because Anguilla means eel. They chose European eels, which I wouldn't have chose, but hey, you know what? It is what it is. And there's the island that looks like an eel. I wish they would have gone with a moray, maybe a chain moray, maybe a spotted moray, an eel that's actually local to the island. All right, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank once again. And we have here St. Kitts and Nevis, pelican flying over the bay, the harbor. Gorgeous. We go to the nutmeg capital of the world, the island nation of Grenada. Here we have a diving paradise. There are 2 divers right there among the reef and shipwreck. The light plays pretty cool on this coin. Another from Grenada is going to be the Caribbean Reef Octopus. Beautiful. Love the textures. Octopus, a staple in their cuisine, of course. We go to a new nation here, Eastern Caribbean. Antigua and Barbuda. This is the Rum Runner. Really cool Caribbean ship there. Obviously, rum in the Caribbean, kind of synonymous. We go to the nation of Montserrat, the Emerald Isle down there that has an affinity, if you don't know, with volcanoes, the Beatles, and Ireland. So if one of those three things interest you, watch my video I made over this coin. The Montserrat blue girdled angelfish, which, once again, beautiful fish, by the way, but it is a Pacific fish. They did not choose the French angelfish or many of the species that reside actually in Montserrat, but they chose one that lives in the Indo-Pacific. Make that make sense? I can't. Maybe you can, but it is gorgeous nonetheless. And of course, we have an actual native species from Montserrat, the Montserrat. This is a oriole that happens to live there, and then we have the volcano that did blow up. A lot of the island was forced to evacuate, and actually got to have the ability to go to England, being a part of the Commonwealth, and they were granted citizenship on the spot, which is, a testament to England holding up its side of the deal of being a Commonwealth. So hats off to them. And then, of course, we have the new standard, as you can see, like we talked about, ECCB, Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, instead of the Queen. This is St. Lucia, their coat of arms, which is really beautiful. This is actually, in the background, their flag with different textures, and then the coat of arms on top of it. Love coats of arms. And then from St. Lucia again, we have a pair of pelicans. 1 month I lost a bet. My wife got to pick my coins for that month, and this happened to be among them, which I don't regret because I have really grown fond of it. But those, my friends, are examples that are out there of Caribbean silver. I bought every single one of these with the exception of the 2 gifts by viewers over there on APMEX, because once again, they always have amazing coins from around the world. I'm not saying you have to, but I'm saying, hey, if you like doing this kind of stuff and you want unique stuff from around the world you don't have, that's probably the place you should start looking. But that's where I got mine. I hope that this has been enjoyable for you to see coins from around the world, to understand kind of a little bit of a picture within their culture, because each of these coins should be a postcard that says, hey, this is what's great about us, and this is why you should come visit. But that's what we have for you today. I hope, as always, you remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.